not in this area. So there is no contradiction between the storage of energy, because that's what it is when we are dealing with H2 storage, and the exploration of renewable energy sources. Because natural H2, that's what it is. We are hoping, because at this stage we are hoping that we can exploit natural H2 from the underground to provide H2 to, so it's a complementary technology to electrolysis. But we do expect that storage would be as well needed in this area. And one of the main reasons is for security of supply and intermittency of renewable management. A bit like what just was explained by my colleague.
Thank you, Florian. Any more questions? Yeah.
What? A question to Claudia from Heidelberg Materials.
Your name and affiliation, please.
Franz Hutzenberger, the colleague of Wim. What is, I see on the website, on the dashboard, that financial close is foreseen in 28 somewhere for the project. What is still needed in order to make the business case work? What are the barriers you have to solve?
Yes, I think that this is the topic also of the panel. I don't know if I can share in advance that there are a lot of barriers, but the main are relevant to the full commitment of the CCS value chain. So, in particular, with the transport and storage availability in Italy, and the second is the financial issue. And for this reason, during my presentation, at the end of my presentation, I underlined that the EU funded research and research funded internally are fundamental elements, but we need also integrated support at national level from the regulatory, legislative, and the funding point of view. So this is the barrier that we see for an on-time deployment of DREAM to reach financial close by July 2028.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you for the questions. I think I will move on the panel, and then maybe if we have time, we can take one more questions later. So I want to start. We have two questions. First questions for our panelists. I will give you a couple of minutes each to respond. So just I ask you to be quick in the responses, so not to disrupt the lunch that everybody's waiting, apart the jokes. My first question is, what specific strategies or mechanisms proved most effective in ensuring the path to deployment and market uptake beyond the project's lifetime for your projects, so or during the project lifetime? Claudia, you want to start?
Yes, very quickly, we set a lot of complementary strategies to make the projects more reliable and credible. First, a disciplined progression along the maturity curve from the technological point of view. Internal development of knowledge, and our Cement Competence Center manages the technology core activities, but the progression from research, basic research and innovation to pilots project and demonstrator to gather operational data is fundamental to design a project project for industrial deployment. Second factor that can ensure the success is the cooperation with the transportation and storage operator, because the design of a CCS carbon capture in a cement plant depends also on the CO2 specifications. So the cooperation is important. And also on the tighter relationships between emitters and TNS operator to ensure on-time deployment of mutual project. And these factors are important. Another important factor is the external validation of technology, because we develop internally competencies, but after the development of technology, we have exchange with the energy engineering consultancies, with the industrial stakeholder, to make more objective and focused our design. And it is very important to make credible and more reliable the project, also for all the bodies that have to fund the project, and for all stakeholders of the value chain that has to contribute to the successful deployment of all CCS projects.
Okay, thank you, Claudia. So summarizing is internal R&D maturation, owning the maturation of the technology, also through public funding where possible, and also adding, I will add the engineering to reach feed phase, front-end engineering, external validation by third parties, consultancy or tech provider, etc., and close cooperation with transport and storage operator. Thank you. Marco, it's your turn.
From our side, one of the best strategy thing we used was to engage immediately our technology provider. So we really start from the first phase of the project, signing agreement and pre-agreement toward the start of the project till the feed. So we start with already the mind of we will build this facility, innovation found or not. This kind of commitment was, how can I say, it was high enough to have the technology provider on our side, deeply on our side, during the preparation of the application, and also after, during the preparation for the environmental impact assessment, during the preparation of the front-end engineering design. So I think this was one of the main strategies. The second was the risk assessment, because obviously ATS price are not really fixed right now. We don't know what will happen in 2028, 2030. We don't even know if our facility will enter in ATS. So to assess the risk, we did a deep insight on voluntary carbon market, and we are right now speaking with a lot of portfolio manager to try to understand how to set an offtake agreement for the end of the year, I think, more or less. This also because for our kind of facility, we have the problem that, as I told you before, more or less 50% is biogenic CO2 and 50% is fossil. The MRR regulation right now don't permit us to offset the biogenic CO2 for other emission of the same plant or of the GRAP. So we have to do something with this CO2. And right now, voluntary carbon market is the only one that permits us to take money and to stabilize the financing of our project.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Marco. Florian?
Well, for us, and especially for the IPSTER project, the CHP financing has been key for the success of the project for three reasons. One is obvious in terms of budget. We had a 15 million budget to be spent, And we could have the CZD and as well have some partner with ourselves. Second, EU labels are in general of great helps because it can really give some visibility and credibility to your project. And when you are in R&D, you really need these skills. And that's what the label has brought to us. It also brings acceptability of the project. If a project in the region is well perceived and if there's some credibility, it's always easier to get the support of local authorities. It's also a big structure for the project, because the way it is framed, the way the consortium is created, and the meetings that you have with the coordinators are always of great help. Open discussions are key. And that leads me to the very last point. When we have done this project, we have finished far behind the schedule. And the reason why is that we put industrial safety first. If you have not a good relationship with a coordinator, you cannot expect to have him understand why the project is late and have him happy. And industrial safety for us, yeah, it was key, because when you're developing a new technology, I mean, you don't have 3 try to make sure that the technology is flawless and that can be deployed commercially.
Thank you. And finally, Simone, what were your specific strategy or mechanism that proved most effective in your path to deployment?
So, I mean, of course, for our point of view is a bit different. As a technology provider, for us, what was key was de-risking, testing, proving and de-risking the few innovative components of our technology, of our solution. And secondly, the modularity of and scalability of our solution. So in our commercial pilot, we will use the very same turbine and the very same reservoir that then we are going to use in the commercial large-scale application, simply adding more turbine in series and more system in parallel. So proving the technology in smaller scale, then we can scale and contribute to the deployment of terawatt-hour of capacity that we need.
And I know that you also backed up that with a IP, very careful IP kind of management. You have 4 patents.
That's correct. Yeah, before even incorporating the company, we file 4 patents, which is key. Now, of course, we are also transitioned to industrial secret strategy, but I mean the 2 combined are instrumental to protect our technology. Yes.
I guess this is a point for technology providers that are in Horizon project to make sure they handle IP very early in the process before even thinking of going ahead. I go to the second questions for the 4 panelists. I will go in the different order. So start with Simone, just to make it a little bit more dynamic. What common systemic or structural barriers did you encounter across different stages of your projects, and what enabling conditions helped to overcome them?
Well, of course, for us, financial resources is the main barrier. It's true probably for many projects, but for us in particular, being offshore, it's particularly true because there are some economy of scale that you reach only when you deploy very large scale project. Just an example, to lay a cable, an export cable of 100 megawatt or 10 megawatt, laying a cable of 100 megawatt is marginally more expensive than laying a cable for 10 megawatts. So of course, the first commercial, the first pilot has a capex of around 5 million per megawatt, but our long-term target that we can reach is between 1 and 2 million. This only thanks to the economy of scale. So having support to reach that scale will be essential to deploy our technology.
Thank you. Florian, main barriers now to overcome them.
I can quote a few, and I probably will, but if I had to say one, it is clearly the fact that today in the emerging market, which is renewable H2, there is no market signals, no price signals on the market, sorry. And for us, it's very difficult because we already have a lot of expenses in the development phase of the projects, and we have a bit more in the construction phase. And our project, because we are talking about big infrastructures, they are coming first before the production projects and the consumption projects. And they are coming and they have a long lead times. For storage, we are talking about 7 to 10 years of development plus construction. So for us today, what we are missing to really scale up is a regulation framework, which is enabling us to de-risk our development phase and the construction phase, and also structure the long-term price signals. So that's a very first concern. Apart from that, globally, the technology is mature. We have used it, we have proved it. But I would quote the supply chain. There is no standards today for the materials that we need to use, meaning that we need to specify what we need to have someone building it. It's more expensive, and it leads to a long procurement period.
Thank you very much, Marco.
Yeah, from our side, as I think Claudia already mentioned, the main problem right now in Italy is the regulatory asset, because there is none right now. We are waiting for it, but right now nothing is established. And this is becoming particularly important for the T&S, because this will regulate how they can have the money back for the investment. So right now this is coming a bottleneck, and is postponing all the financial investment decision from the T&S to all the supply chain. This is one of the main aspects. Also because without a regulatory framework, we don't know if there will be some incentivation, in which kind, and how the risk assessment will be done on all the supply chain. Because right now the main problem for us first emitter that will come in this market is that if something happened, for example, in a pipeline, the pipeline broke, the transport closed the pipeline, for us is like from 1 to 3 million loss monthly. For Heidelberg, I think it's 10 times more. So this is, I think, right now the main problem, that we need to establish a regulatory framework, understand how to move inside the regulatory framework, and do our risk analysis.
Sorry, just to interject on that, because I've been involved in some of the discussions with many of the actors in Italy on this. I know that, as probably is known, that the Italian government is trying to set up a quite challenging regulatory framework. It's new, it's quite complicated. There are different ideas. They already done something also with the help of the associations of companies with the transport and storage operators. I think it will take time. And it's probably good that all the pieces of the puzzle will need to converge at a certain time. So I probably, for the emitters, but it's good to know that even after winning an innovation fund, that's not enough. You need other conditions on the side to make this project viable or happening at the end of the day. Claudia?
Yes, this is the point. We encountered a lot of barrier, and we set search and found enabling condition. From the technological point of view, as I showed before, we face the jump from research innovation to industrial deployment, not as a jump, but with a right progression from the basic research, also with the strong support of European and the national institution to pilot project and then to industrial project. But the main two barriers remain the ones I mentioned before. The cooperation with the transport and storage operators, because in general, as we know, in the European framework, CCS project and in particular capture project have to face also delays when the TNS transport, the TNS operators face delay or have to face redesign of their project if transport and storage operators fail in their project. So the tight collaboration with the local transport and storage operator is an enabling condition for a right deployment of our project. We can't manage the time of the transport and storage operator project, but we can work together to establish strong synergies and to collaborate to launch the national funding, the national CCS value chain in Italy. Third barrier, the financial barrier. As I mentioned before, the Innovation Fund is a powerful accelerator. It allows for the launch of the project or for the progress of the project. It increases the trust of the company in going ahead, but is not enough. We need of a clear policy in Italy, a clear definition of the regulatory framework that is important, as Marco mentioned before, for the transport and storage operator, but also for the emitters. The emitters have to know what is the national framework to best deploy their project. I can share the experience of our group. Innovation Fund is important, but up to now, the CCS project in our group that achieved the positive final investment decision are projects that are strongly supported also at a national level. This is true for Padeswood CCS, the last project that reached the FID by our board. This is true for Brevik, Norway, that this is the first industrial deployment. And this is true also for the CCU project in Germany that was fully supported by the German government. So we would suggest that a clear legislative and regulatory framework is fundamental, and that the Innovation Fund should be complemented by a national funding totally compatible with the Innovation Fund in order to favor the deployment on time of first of kind project.
Thank you, Claudia. So summarizing, there's probably the projects need what is called a stack financing or project financing from different sources, both at European level and national level in this case. And also a regulatory framework at the national level. We're talking about complex large-scale projects like CCUS. Maybe a dialogue between these institutions would be this is for the representative of the Commission talking to member states to see what they are doing and try to find and push them to accelerate the regulation at national level and the funding instruments. On the other hand, this is a chicken and egg dilemma we had in the past as well. Is it the national funding coming first or the European funding first? Everybody's kind of waiting the other one, or maybe not, or maybe a dialogue will be good on this, and also with the stakeholders, with the project owners. Thank you very much. I can take one more question. We're a bit delayed, but I will take one question from there. Yeah.
Hello. Thank you very much for this panel. It's really very, very interesting. I'm Abdurrahman Mustafa from ADWEA. And I have a question that it's about permitting. All of these technologies are very innovative, and I believe that always the permitting to achieve the plants at the end of the day is always let's say a problem. It takes some time. How can we plan this for an innovation fund, let's say, concept? So within the time frame of applying for an innovation fund, and also what's your experience with obtaining the permit?
Who wants to take this? Florian. Yeah.
Yeah, permitting is, I think, for all of our projects, something which takes a lot of time. My take is that benefiting from the pilot project is very important before going big scale. And it really lower the time that you need to discuss your project with the permitting authorities afterwards. They need to get familiar with your technology, with the risk, everything. And pilots are great for that. That's my take.
Maria, you want to respond from your side as well?
Well, thank you. Indeed, permitting, what we see actually is that permitting is a very big problem for all projects in Innovation Fund. And actually, we have done a permitting survey and a report on permitting. So I want to encourage you to read it. I failed to advertise our knowledge sharing reports, because we have annual knowledge sharing report, and what comes is knowledge from the running Innovation Fund projects, and there's also sections on permitting there, on off-takers. All these challenges that we hear today are there, but also with some examples of what you can do to really overcome them. And just to answer your question on permitting, and this is exactly what was mentioned, that early involvement of the permitting authorities is super necessary, because some of the innovative technologies are really new to them. They don't know how to permit, basically. So start early. For the Innovation Fund application, you need a plan on the permitting, serious plan that you have to show that you know what are the permits, what is the timeline. You don't need to have the permits as yet, but it has to be feasible within the timeline of the project. So just in short.
Thank you very much, Maria. Very, very useful. I think we will close it here because we're all starving and we need some fuel for us. A big applause for our panelists for their intervention. And a little logistic. So the lunch will be here, just here after these doors. For peanuts, allergies, and allergies, there's a table on the right. And we will resume here at 2:30. Please be punctual. We're going to have the session on the breakout sessions. Very interesting. Thank you very much. See you in a bit.